What is up, and welcome into another episode of the Somebody Said Canes show as part of the Somebody Said Sports Network. I am Breeze, and I'm ready to talk some more ball. Earlier this week, I dropped a video reviewing our offense and how they perform against Texas A&M. I want to jump back in and now look forward. And I mentioned I might do this. I want to go look at the Ohio State defense because we talked about what our offense was not able to do, some opportunities we left on the field against Texas A&M. What does that mean for the next game, Ohio State? We are legitimately 5 days out from our Hurricanes going out to Dallas to the Cotton Bowl to play against the Ohio State Buckeyes. That is Wednesday, December 31st. It's a 7:30 kickoff. The line is still at 9.5, so it opened up at 10.5. It's down to 9.5. I'm going to talk about this Ohio State defense. We're going to show some film. I pulled some clips from the Indiana game. I think there's some similarities in how that game went and how I suspect this game will go. And we're going to get into all of that, man. So, first of all, and as always, appreciate everybody that tunes in. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. It does so much for me. I really appreciate all the support and all the love I've gotten. Again, I want to say the stats showed me that when about in the last month, I've gotten almost 50 subscribers. So hopefully, people are appreciating the content. People are enjoying it. If so, hit them comments and let me know. Keep jumping in, live comments, but then also afterwards, I want to talk Canes ball. I want to talk Canes ball with anybody who's interested in doing so. So like I said, we're going to get into this Ohio State defense. We're going to get into the film, and we're going to talk about what it is that we can expect. Flat out, Ohio State's defense is elite. There's no other way to put it. They are absolutely elite in all three levels of the defense, the defensive line, the linebackers, and the defensive back room. It is a bunch of NFL guys. A bunch of these dudes are going to be playing on Sunday very, very soon, and they get busy. They flat out get busy. This stat I thought was very telling. They're the first team to hold their first 12 opponents under 17 points since Florida did it in 1975. In the age of offense, in the age of where teams are going spread, they're going up tempo, and they're doing all these creative things to make life difficult for defenses, Ohio State's defense has been dominating people. Ohio State's defense has been putting people in the absolute vice grip, clamping folks all season. So Miami fans going into this game, if you are not respecting how good this defense is, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. This defense is absolutely nasty. Literally today, I pulled it this morning. As I was getting ready to do the show. Fox Sports updated all of their stats, their defensive ranking stats for all the teams out there. I just want to read these off to y'all real quick. Total defense. Ohio State is number one, giving up only 213 yards per game. Passing defense. Ohio State is number one. They only give up 129 passing yards per game. They've only allowed 6 passing touchdowns all season, which is insanity through 13 games. Their rushing defense is number 5. They only give up 84.5 rushing yards a game. They've only given up 4 rushing touchdowns on the season. Scoring defense, number 1. They are allowing 8.2 points per game. That is outrageous. The number 2 team was Indiana, and they gave up 10.8. And after that, most of the teams following are very, very close. Ohio State's defense has been different. It's been elite. That's the only way to put it. That's the only words I can think of to describe it. Because simply, they are clamping folks up and down the field. They're holding folks in the run game. They're holding you in your pass game. They're challenging things you want to do. So if you don't think Miami has a tall task ahead of them against this defense, you're lying to yourself. You're fooling yourself. Go back, put on the tape, watch the games, look at the numbers. This defense is filthy. What I'm going to show when I get into some of these clips and some of this film is that it really starts up front, and they've got some monsters up front. Like they are, as Mario Cristobal would say, they are creatures up front. Caden Curry, number 92, plays a defensive end, kind of stand-up outside linebacker role. Cam McDonald, number 98, is a grown man. He conducts grown man business. I'm going to show some clips that show you just how grown man Ken McDonald is when it comes to what happens on that field. They've also got Arvell Reese, who I believe has double-digit sacks on the season. They've got Sonny Styles at the linebacker position, who absolutely is a stud linebacker. He's got to be top 3 in terms of draft projections of linebackers. On the back end, they've got Caleb Downs. If you don't know who Caleb Downs is, you just haven't been watching college football for the last 3 seasons, because there's no way you watch college football and you don't know who Caleb Downs is. Caleb Downs is an absolute problem. Caleb Downs is a future first-round draft pick safety. I came into last season saying Caleb Downs might be the best football player in America. That's how good Caleb Downs is. And he's behind these other monsters that I've already named. And the defense really goes as the front seven goes. The defense really goes as Cam McDonald, Caden Curry, Arvell Reese, and Sonny Styles go. When those guys are doing what they do, really, you don't hear a whole lot about the corners. Even Nosen, number 1, is a highly rated, highly respected corner over there. They've got Matthews in number 7. They've got Sonny Styles' brother, who plays DB for them as well. But you don't really hear a whole lot of them because the front seven is so nasty. Let's stop talking about it. Let's get into the film, man, because at the end of the day, men lie, women lie, film doesn't. So let's go ahead and just jump into this film, man. I want y'all to see the things that I saw. And like I said, I used the Indiana game because I felt like the Indiana game, one, had a lot of similarities between what we saw in the Miami Texas A&M game, where it was really a defensive, battle. Not a lot of points being scored. I think this game is going to be the same. I would not expect a lot of points to be scored. I'll do some score prediction stuff before we get into that, but I think this to be a defensive struggle, similar to our game against Texas A&M. That's how the Indiana-Ohio State game kind of played out. And I was like, what were they doing? Like, what was Ohio State doing to be able to hold Indiana to such a low point margin? So let's just jump into it. I'm going to show y'all exactly what I saw in the film, and you can let me know how you feel. Please jump in the comments. If you disagree, I want to hear it. So here we go. Let's bring the film up. One of the things, I'm going to use the film to kind of talk about what they do schematically. So one thing that you notice very often is that they get in the 5-man front. Now, again, if you really get in the weeds, they get in the tight, they get in the stack, things of that nature. This is a situation where they've got the 5-man front. Arvell Reese is split out here in a wide 9 to the boundary side. Caden Curry's here, Cam McDonald in the middle, 95. And then this is Jackson, who's actually from South Florida. Sonny Styles is sitting here. So they got a 5-man front. Indiana's kind of going big in this set. But watch what happens on this play, particularly watch the interior of the defensive line. You see Cam McDonald? Cam McDonald takes on this double team and literally pushes the double team back into the hole where the running back's trying to get. That's grown man business. McDonald conducts grown man business. That is a double team. Indiana's offensive line has pushed people around all season. He said, I don't care. He said, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Takes on the double. The right guard is trying to seal him off. The right guard wants to seal him and climb to the second level to seal off probably Sonny Styles here. He can't do it because they can't get leverage. They can't move McDonald off his spot. And then he pushes it right back into where the play is supposed to go. What are you supposed to do with that? Right? You better bring your lunch pail. So as we go through these clips, I'm looking at James Brockermeyer. Gotta have his best game of the season. I'm looking at Inez Cooper. You kind of left some money on the field this year. I felt like, bro, you got to bring your work on this one. I'm looking at McCoy at the left guard spot. You got to bring your lunch pail on this one, dog, because this Ohio State D-line conducts grown man business. Same thought. Oh, let's run it back. The film is antsy to get into it. So again, 5-man front. Now Caden Curry is split outside again. Now they're a little tighter in their splits here than they were on the last play. Really more so, they've got the 3-4 DNs just on the outside shoulder, kind of like a 4-eye of the guards. Cam McDonald's in a true zero tech nose tackle technique, standing right over the ball, right over the center. And they've got Arvell Reese standing up. The thing to remember, the thing to think about though, a lot of times they're not bringing all five. They will do it sometimes. But what this does is it challenges an offensive line to think that, hey, we got to be prepared for any of these five to come. And so then if Arvell Reese drops out, which he does a good bit, or if Caden Curry drops out, which he does sometimes, I would say close to 50-50 in this Indiana game, it felt like. But you got to be prepared for all five of them. And that's what this 5-man front does. And then with these wide splits, now you got to account in space. So if he does come, now Arvell Reese is coming with space to be able to go at whoever you've got blocking him. But on this play, this is a run play. Watch Jackson here, 97, and watch, I think it's 95. Watch what they do to these linemen. Bro, 97 is taking this left tackle. The left tackle kicked in. They Indiana slanted the line, and the left tackle tried to kick in, and Jackson just took him for a walk. Hey, bro, let's go for a walk. He just walked him right into the running back's lap. The running back this is a duo. The running back wants to get this ball and then be able to pick his hole. They're duoing Cam McDonald again, hoping that maybe you get a seam here, maybe you get a seam there, right? Because duo allows you to pick A gap, B gap, C gap, whatever the running back sees is open. He can choose that gap and go at it. But when your tackle is getting pushed into the backfield, and then on the front side, the same thing is happening. Bro, look at these linemen getting pushed back. That makes it really, really hard on a running back. It makes it really, really hard on an offense to be able to be successful. Because if you can't run the ball, you don't want to be one-dimensional, especially not against a defense this good. But you can't move them. How can you run on them? It's going to be tough, man. Miami's O-line has got to go make some money next Wednesday. Miami's O-line is going to have to bring their hard hats if they want to try to win against this Ohio State front. Now, some things that Indiana did, I'm going to show this clip. It didn't work, but it shows how Indiana kind of tried to attack Ohio State. But also, it just shows how even when you do creative things, it still can be difficult to move the ball or to be able to run against this defensive front. So again, as you can see, they're in the 5-man front. The DNs are kind of in a 4-eye, kind of just a true 4, right? Standing right in the gap between the guards and tackles. Cam McDonald's in that true zero tech again. You've got your ends out here. Indiana's going to try and pull backside, but watch Arvell Reese stand up the puller, and then they can't create a hole. Look at Arvell Reese. Bang. That's an old lineman. Arvell Reese stands him up. Look at that. I'm not moving. Now, the other puller is trying to get around to seal Sonny Styles, and he can't get through the hole. Why is that? Because Jackson is pushing his man right into the hole again. Bro, these D linemen conduct grown man business. These D linemen for Ohio State are active. They are creatures, monsters, as Mario Cristobal would probably describe them. They are nasty. Our O-line has got to come ready to play. There's no other way to put it. They've got to come ready to play. When you've got stand-up DNs holding up on pulling tackles and guards, and you've got three, 4 DNs pushing back your guards into holes, you got to bring your lunch pail. There's no other way to say it. Like our O-line is gonna have to probably have the best game they've had all year. If we're gonna be successful in running the ball at all, and we know that Miami is a run first team, Mario Cristobal's team is run first. Even last year when we had Cam Ward and we threw the ball all over the field, we still had 1,000-yard rusher. You want to be able to have balance. You want to be able to run the ball. And this year's team especially needs to be able to run the ball. That means the O-line is going to have to come with it. Flat out, man. The O-line is going to have to come with it. They're going to have to bring it. And it's play after play because these dudes do not let up. Now, I will say their second line of guys are not as elite as the first line of guys. And so one of the things that I would like to see before I get into the last thing, kind of talking about the back end of this Ohio State defense, I would like to see if Miami sees that Cam McDonald and Caden Curry come off the field together, which they did that in Indiana, in the Indiana game. If you see that happen, go tempo. Go hurry up. Because when they're off the field, it's not quite the same. The defense up front isn't quite as nasty. And so that would, in my opinion, that is the opportunity to go hurry up, keep those backups on the field, and see if you can go get some wins up front while those guys aren't on the field. All right, last play I'm going to show before I talk about some of the things that I think Miami might be able to do, or some of the things that I'm hoping we try to do. Actually, can I shift this around? Yeah, I'm going to do it like this. Yeah, I'd rather be like that. That way y'all get more to play showing. So this next play, one of the things about Ohio State's defense is they're not uber creative. So last week we went out, we played Texas A&M, and Texas A&M does a bunch of exotic blitzes and a bunch of, crazy stuff, changing the pictures. Ohio State's defense doesn't do a whole lot of that. There's not a ton of what you see pre-play is completely different than what you see post-snap. They don't do a lot of adjustments pre-snap. Like, kind of see what you get is what you see is what you get in a way. And a lot of times when they're in man coverage, hey, my guys are better than yours. But they will do some stuff like cover 2 and cover 3. I saw a good little bit of cover 2 and cover 3, and they'll kind of move the personnel around. So Caleb Downs is a safety. They'll move him down into the box at times and switch him out with Matthews, who kind of drops down at times. So they'll do some little things like that. But for the most part, what you see is what you get, except for this play I thought was real crafty. So if you see, Indiana is on the far hash. And so what they're doing is they're using the field side down here. Hope you guys can see that mouse cursor better. I realized on the last video my cursor was too small and it was hard to see. But anyway, they're using the field side down here to their advantage, having space. And if you look at Ohio State and the way they're aligned, you can see that. Hold on, am my audio settings right? Oh man. Okay, no, we're good. We're good. All right. They're using the field side space to their advantage. So they've got 3 receivers to the field. Ohio State is lined up in what looks like man coverage. You've got the boundary side corner stepped up and pressed. Hold on, give me 1 sec. I want to make sure my audio right. Nervous, my audio ain't right. Can't have that. 2 seconds. Let's fix this up real quick. There, which I think it was that already. All right, cool. All right. So again, this looks like man coverage. You've got the boundary corner or the field side corner staring at the receiver. That looks like man, your man there, your man there. So if you see this pre-snap, Carson Beck could see this pre-snap and say, oh, this is man coverage. It's not man coverage though. And it's very crafty. This looks like man coverage with a single high safety. It looks like man down here at the bottom. But when I hit play, you're going to see that Ohio State is actually dropping out into cover 2. Now, it ends up working out for Indiana. You can tell it's cover 2 because this safety starts to drift that way. This corner who was showing man is dropping into this deep half over here. The linebacker kind of drops and just settles down in the middle here. And it ends up working out for Indiana because what they're going to do is they're going to run a double post. So the most interior guy is running a post. You're getting a post here and you're getting a post here. And they're going to run a backside dig underneath it, which is perfect against cover two. And it ends up working out into an explosive play for Indiana. Now, man coverage, maybe you don't get the same look. Man coverage, you might be looking for that inside guy to just win and hoping that the safety potentially stays over the top to help on the backside post, or maybe your backside dig can win. But it ends up being a perfect play call against cover two. But what you saw pre-snap versus what you saw post-snap was not the same. So they will do some of this, and Carson's gonna have to be very good with his eyes. He's gonna have to be very disciplined in what he sees versus what he thought he was gonna see, and then make good decisions. And that's flat out all it is. You got to just make good decisions. So some things that Indiana was able to do well that I think Miami might be able to mirror. In this play, Indiana's going to run split zone, and they do a really good job of just sealing things up. Guys had their feet in the right place. They had really good hat placement, and it ends up being a nice little run for Indiana. You'll notice that the back kind of presses the front side hole and then bounces back to the other side. Mark Fletcher did this really, really well in the Texas A&M game. He's going to have to be good with his eyes in this game too, pressing a hole, which can create an opportunity on the other side. Right? And if he can do that, if our O line can seal off, you see the H back came in, seals that off. This is all sealed. Look at the hat placement. They're winning into the hole where they want to be. The lineman's able to climb up, get hands on Sonny Styles, and you end up with a nice hole there. Now, this receiver ran in here and gave this safety a little love hug. Hey, bro, go block him for real. Hey, bro, block him for real. Look at this. Look. What is that? Block somebody, man. If you gonna block. Because if he does, now your running back is one-on-one with Caleb Downs out in space, and he probably will lose because it's Caleb Downs. But you get another 5 yards, possibly. Maybe even more. Hey, go actually block somebody. Another run play Indiana did very well. Again, Ohio State doesn't do a lot of changing the picture. Even when Indiana was shifting, Ohio State didn't move people around. For the most part, they kind of stayed where they were. And so Indiana used that to get a numbers advantage where they're able to get what they want. They're going to do a duo block here, and then the tackle is going to climb, seal off Sonny Styles. You're going to get a block here, and it's going to create a nice little hole for the running back to run through. I thought this was a good job. Indiana must have saw something in the first half and said, "Wait a minute, I think we can use their lack of moving around pre-snap to try to get an advantage." And you see exactly what I called it. They do a slight shift with the D line, but then he jumps back inside anyway. 75, bang, seal. Your H back has a seal here. Well, you could drive a king wrench through this hole, man. Look at this. Look at that hole. I might have been able to run through that hole. That thing opened up so nice. Your lineman's able to climb now. Your tackle gets to the second level. He gets hands on Sonny Styles, but Sonny Styles being elite kind of gets off the block, but it's too late. That's a 10-yard run now, right? Because you were able to get a numbers advantage, and then you duo the DN instead of Cam McDonald in the middle, and it created a nice little run alley for you. Miami does run duo. I think duo is probably going to be our best play, especially in the run game. It ended up being our best play against Texas A&M. I have a strong feeling our best run play against Ohio State is going to be duo. If we get anything done in the run game, I'm quite certain it's going to be because we ran some duo and it worked. And I absolutely think we're going to need to continue to do that. Couple other plays I want to show, some things that I think Miami is going to be able to do well. But really, at the end of the day, you got to see it, right? At the end of the day, the boys going to have to go out there and execute. Here we go. Trying to just resize this window right quick. Why can I go full pit? All right. Let's jump into a couple more plays that I think Miami might be able to execute on and some things that I think will work for us. And then we're going to get up out of here. Like to keep these 30 minutes or less if I can. Get to it, get to the info, and let's keep it moving. All right. This is another run play where, again, this is duo. The running back has options to choose, and I think the running back did a really good job of one coming in real tight on the hip of his offensive lineman. So let's back it up. 5-man front again. They don't change a whole lot. 5-man front. You got the wide 9 here to the field side, which is good for setting edges for teams that want to do jet sweeps that way into space. You can't. Arvell Reese is way out there in that wide 9. In Miami, we do a lot of wide 9 stuff too, especially with Ruben Bain. They do the same thing with Arvell Reese. The difference is he's more of an outside linebacker, and Ruben's just really a pass rusher. He's more of a true DN. But they're in this at 5-man tight front. Look at the splits here, right? Cam McDonald on that true nose tackle spot. But they do the same thing. They're trying to get a duo here against that DN 67. He's trying to crash, which he does, and he climbs to that second level. But the running back does a really good job of hugging off the hip where that play is supposed to go. If he tries to bounce it outside, you're cooked. Caden Curry's waiting for you. The safety comes down and feels that C gap. There's nothing there. So the running back has to do a really good job of hugging and squeezing through that little hole. Not a whole lot of running room in there, which means you got to take the little bit that's there. You get little creases, little alleys. Mark Fletcher, Gerard Pringle, they've got to hit him. They got to hit him, and you got to feel that live during the play, and it's much harder than it looks. But in the second half, Indiana was able to get run success or get success on the ground because they were able to do some stuff like that. This one is a pass play. One of the tells of Ohio State's defense, especially when they're in zone coverage, cover 3, look how far off these corners are. Right, this corner is 10 yards off. And I said going into the Texas A&M game, I wanted to see the quick passing game, and I don't think we did it enough in that first drive in the third quarter. We did it, and we were able to march up the field. I want to see more of that in this game. And when Carson sees these DBs off this far, bro, take the easy yardage. This is just an out route. There is nothing special about this. Receiver gets up, kind of presses the gap. The corner starts to backpedal, and he breaks it out. CJ Daniels and Keelan Murray can do this all day long. It's a mirrored concept. Both outside receivers are doing the same thing. Carson, pick which one you want. But when those easy throws are there, when those quick outs are there, and those DBs are telling on themselves by being that far off the ball, hey, man, just take the easy stuff. Sometimes the best football is the simplest football. And then, speaking of simple, can your receivers win one-on-ones? This is just a slot fade. There's nothing special happening here. The DB is actually in great coverage. It's just a really good ball, and the receiver goes up and makes a really good grab. Can Miami's receivers win one-on-one? CJ Daniels has made some really good catches on the season, some good 50-50 balls going back to the Notre Dame game. We saw him win a 50-50 fade ball in the Pitt game. We saw Malachi Toney go up and get a 50-50 ball in the Virginia Tech game. Can your receivers go win one-on-one just like this? Indiana's could. We don't have a lot of big receivers like Indiana's got. We've got dynamic playmakers. CJ Daniels has kind of made his name being a contested ball catcher. Can you go win one-on-ones? Honestly, and that's going to be it. Like, I don't think the game plan is going to be super crazy this week. I don't think we need to go out there and do anything wild. In my last video I did earlier in the week, I thought the trick plays that Dawson dialed up would have worked. We just didn't execute. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. But I think it's going to be that. Can you be strong up front? Is this O-line what we think it is? Can you go win those matchups up front? Can your running backs do a really good job in duo, picking the right gaps, picking the right holes, when the offensive line does hold up and create those opportunities? Can you take the quick throws? They were there against Texas A&M. They will be there against Ohio State, especially when they tell themselves that they're in cover 3 and those corners are 10 yards off the ball. And then can your receivers win one-on-one? If Miami checks those boxes, we are winning the race to 20 points because I think it's going to be a race to 20 points. You will be able to score enough to win this game. If your defense does what it's been doing all season and you're able to do those things, I think Miami is able to go out there and find themselves with a chance to win this game. Again, as always, I appreciate everybody that tunes in. Please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe. Give me some feedback. Let me know what y'all think. What are Miami's opportunities against this Ohio State defense, if there are any? If you don't think there are none, let me know that too. But no defense is absolutely perfect. This defense is darn elite, though. And so I'm interested to see how Dawson dials it up, how he tries to attack this defense. Does he replicate some of the things we just showed on film? And is Miami able to execute them? As always, like I said, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And as always, it's Go Canes.